This is a digital SAT math question. It says in the XY plane, the graph of the given equation is a circle. The length of the radius of the circle is NP, where N and P are positive constants. What is the value of N? And then it gives this equation. Well, this isn't exactly a digital SAT question. It's one in which the numbers have been changed to protect the innocent. In other words, so that it's not an exact question that will be found on a practice test, so students can work it and understand how to work the actual question they'll find on the practice test, and yet still be able to work that question as if it's fresh, so that their score on a practice test actually reflects their ability, not that they memorize the numbers from working a practice question. Now, Digital SAT College Board also makes question bank questions available, including question bank questions not on practice tests. So they have a number of those available. But this is a new one. I've just changed the numbers around a little bit. But exactly like a question that's on the math section. So this is asking for something about a circle and a radius. So I'm going to plug it into Desmos and see what I get. 3x squared plus 12px, I think it was that, plus 3y squared minus 18py equals 153p squared. Yes, and then I'll put in a slider for p, and now it's drawn this beautiful circle. Okay, how do I find the radius? Click on the circle. See these 2 points up here and these 2 points down here? This point and this point are where it crosses the y-axis. But these points are above and below the radius. So if I take the distance between these points, above and below the center rather, if I take the distance between these points, that will be the diameter. Half of that will be the radius. So they're both at -2 in the x, so I just need the y distance. 11 minus -5, that's 16, and half of 16 is 8. So the radius equals 8, which according to the question is n times p. Well, what is p? The slider made p equal 1, so p is just 1. N times 1 equals 8, therefore n equals 8. So I found the value of n by using Desmos. I can also find it using math. Remember that the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where hk is the center and r is the radius. And r is the radius. Now, to get from this to that, complete the square. In this question, only half of completing the square is needed, but I'll show the whole thing, just in case later you have a question about completing the square and you have to do the whole thing, or you need the center of it. So first I need just a 1 in front of the x squared, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. It's x squared plus 4px plus y squared minus 6py equals 153 divided by 3 is 51p squared. Now I've got the x's with the x's and the y's with the y's, so I'm going to take half of this, whatever's in front of x. Half of 4p is 2p, so I get x plus 2p squared, and then I square this. 2p times 2p is 4p squared, add it to the right, 4p squared. Then I take half of what's in front of the y, just the y, not the squared y, negative 3p, and I write y minus 3p squared. And then I square this. Negative 3p times negative 3p is 9p squared. That goes on the other side. And somehow I do this every time. 51 plus 9 is 60, plus 4 is 64, equals, what do I do every time? 64p squared. I didn't leave enough room here to write the rest of that equation. That's what I do every time. But, so this is the r squared part, and I just need the r part. So 64, p squared is r squared. What is r? 64, square root of 64 is 8. Square root of square root of p squared is p, so 8p equals the radius equals n times p. Well, 8p, there's the p part, there's the n part, n equals 8. So there's the way to find it by math. Also, you can find it using Desmos, as I have shown. If you need help with SAT or ACT prep, or just with math in general, send an email to franktutor@outlook.com. I'm an interactive tutor, and I can prove it. Look at how this email address can get bigger and smaller. It's interactive. If you have a question about your math, just send an email, franktutor@outlook.com. No charge. I will answer questions from worksheets if you're preparing for a test and you say, I don't know how to do this, I really need to know how to do it. I'll work the question and then you'll see how to do it. But if you want tutoring for SAT, ACT, math, TSIA2, whatever it is, send an email, franktutor@outlook.com. But there you see how to work this question on the digital SAT, where n is equal to 8.